Hi, it's Mai here with my Friday reads. This is also my TBR for the Tome Topple Readathon, and I will go through that first. So the Tome Topple Readathon is hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes and a bunch of other co-hosts who I will link down below. It starts on the 18th, so today, and it goes on until December the 1st. And the goal of Tome Topple is to read long books over 500 pages. And you don't have to read many books, you can just read one or just start one, but the point is to concentrate on your bigger books that you might push aside during the rest of the year because they are too long to read just at that particular moment. There are also challenges, but I'm not really following them, so I didn't really pay attention to them, but you can see them on the announcement videos. So one tome that I have already started and will be continuing during the Tome Topple is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, which I have on my Kindle, and it is 560 pages and I'm currently about halfway through. This is a quite twisty novel set in Victorian England with thieves pulling a con. And then after I finish Fingersmith, I am planning to finally start Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch. This is the second book in the Gentleman Bastard series, and I finished the first book, The Lies of Lochaelmora, in January last year, so it has almost been 2 years since I read the first book, so it's high time to continue on with the series. And this also features conmen or thieves, but this is a fantasy novel. So those two are the books that I focus on for the Tome Topple Readathon. I'm currently also reading a couple of other books on my Kindle. I'm reading The Obliques Gate by N.K. Jemisin. I read the 5th season, the first in the Broken Earth series earlier this year. This is a fantasy series and I'm now reading the second book. So this fantasy series set in a world with a lot of natural disasters. Whenever there is a particularly bad natural disaster, it might sprung on this thing called the 5th season, which just means this season that might last for quite a long while, that has a lot of natural disasters, a lot of calamities, a lot of bad stuff happening, and people sort of have to hunker down and try to ride it out. There are also people who can use magic called origins, who can control the earth. So I'm really into it so far. I'm about 20% through. I really do enjoy Jemisin's writing style always, so it's a good read. I'm also reading The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. This is one of those Holmes books that it's a collection of short stories, so I'm not actively reading it. I'm reading a short story in between reading other stuff, so I have only currently read the first short story. And I didn't know that the phrase "the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime" comes from a Sherlock Holmes short story, but now I do. I just thought it was the name of that one book. I also just finished The Singing Bows by Sean Tan, which is an art book featuring Grimm's fairy tales and sculptures that the artist has made after the fairy tales. This is Snow White. And it was pretty annoying when I noticed only after I had read almost the whole book that there are these little notes at the end that give you a brief summary of the whole fairy tale. So since there were fairy tales I didn't know, I googled some of them, but I could have just read them from the notes at the end, even though they're not the full fairy tales, you sort of get the gist. But anyway, this is really beautiful. I highly recommend it if you like fairy tales. So what are you reading this weekend? Are you taking part in the Tome Topple Readathon? If you are, let me know in the comments. If you have like a TBR video or something up, I'll go and check it out. I hope you have a great weekend and I'll see you later.